is Dan Formless for Hoxton FM. I'm joined by David Adams.
That's correct.
From Soundcloud. David, can you tell us a bit about Soundcloud for the few people out there who probably still don't know?
Sure. So just so everyone knows, SoundCloud is like a social sound sharing platform. So we're there to help anyone who's a sound creator to share their sounds across the web. So from there you can upload and create your sounds using SoundCloud. Maybe like creating audio on the fly, or maybe you have a finished track you want to share. And then from there I can go and share this across my networks, my social networks, onto my websites, out to press and blogs, and wherever else across the web I want to get my audio. And so from there we just help to give them tools to help people use sound in a really useful manner, and that's kind of where we get involved with this event. So
yeah, London Electronic Music Event, which is just coming up weekend of the 18th and 19th of February. You've got a social media for the musician talk that you're giving. Can you give the listeners an idea of sort of what you're going to cover?
Sure. So for us, like, we have a community now of 10 million users, so it's really cool to get out there and explain a bit more about how they can use SoundCloud. So for us, like, from a musician's perspective, you can use SoundCloud across the lifetime of a song. Maybe uploading that first demo and sharing it to your friend and using the timed comments to talk about a track. Maybe you're like shopping your track around to different labels or to different PR contacts, or if you're a PR yourself, how they can put it out to journalists. And also from there, how you can put it across to all press and blogs onto your websites. And then really in that whole space of social media, creating like more interesting marketing tools with it at the same point. So for example, like how I can use SoundCloud to create quick audio messages to share with fans, or such as remix competitions. We've had people from like DJ Shadow to Labyrinth as well, how they use our platform to engage with a community of collaborators, and just to try and explain about all these different tools and uses of SoundCloud and how it can be a benefit, and help them guys up that ladder to make the most of our platform, really.
So, I mean, you guys are pretty innovative. You're sort of introducing lots of new things, and I mean, sometimes I look at the likes of, say, MySpace, and they kind of are fairly static. And tell us about some things that you've got coming up. And when we were chatting before, you've got some new things, beta testing, that are sort of coming through.
Well, our developers are always crazy busy in their own time making fun tools, and they just like to experiment as much as people like to experiment with music. So we have a website called SoundCloud Labs as well, where we put a bunch of different projects our developers have been working on. And once they reach a certain state, they're on SoundCloud Labs. So for example, last week we launched Story Will. So Story Will let people take their Instagram photos and then add a narration to it on top.
Yeah.
So it could be everyone talking about which bass guitars they have, talking about their studio or life on tour, or generally just whichever funny Instagram pictures they have. And then as well as projects like Story Will, we've had like Email Unlock as well. So for all the musicians out there, giving them a service to allow for data capture. So a really great email for download widget, which you can then spread across your networks as well. So we're always looking at more innovative ways of how people can use our platform to then share their sounds.
So if I understand that right, you can send a message out to people to share a track, or people have to, if they see it on a website embedded or something, they have to submit their email in order to download a track, is that right?
Yeah, so if they email Unlock, say for example you have a new track and we give it for download, but I want to get some data capture in return, I can use this widget, post it on a blog site for example, people can add in their email address, they receive a notification, and that download comes through SoundCloud.
Right, so your developers are pretty hot on it, and
yeah,
I think, are they all based out in Berlin?
So our main office is over in Berlin. So over there we have all our developers and the main part of us, but we have a small office here in London, and then we also have an office in San Francisco as well now. So the San Francisco office is really there for like our platform team, and there's a great bunch of companies out that way, such as like Root Music, which connects to SoundCloud, Mobile Roadie, which you connect your self-service app with as well. And so all these great tools out there, we want to have close relationships about how you can integrate SoundCloud within that process.
And is there a specific reason why Berlin?
Because it's cool. Basically, Alex and Eric, they're probably best ones to tell their story about this. Actually, probably best to check out their Story Will.
Okay.
If you go to Story Will, and they've got a Story Will explaining the history of SoundCloud. But Alex and Eric are both from Sweden, moved down to Berlin, a bunch of other really cool tech and creative people in the area, and it just kind of blossomed from there. But let them tell the story from Story Will.
Right, okay, so are they the founders?
Yeah, Alex and Eric are founders.
And how long ago did they found SoundCloud?
Founded back 2007, 2008. So
it's still quite young, really.
In the grand scheme of things, I guess you can call it quite a young company. So, yeah.
Okay. So you've told us about a few sort of the things that are coming through on the beta test. Is there anything else sort of in the future, sort of longer term that's
one really nice thing which has happened recently is we launched our HTML5 players. So obviously using Flash before, it wouldn't show on your iOS devices. So now when you click share, you grab a player, that's going to be HTML5, so it will show up on your iOS devices. And what's really great about HTML5, it's really interactive, so then people can like a track or comment on a track directly within your widget, even when it's embedded on your website. So just trying to bring that interactivity of SoundCloud across the web as well. So then we've seen it with the launch of our SoundCloud app for iPhone, for Android and iPad as well. So just trying to move that experience across the platform and helping people to share their sounds in more interesting and different ways.
Yeah, because I mean you've got a very strong brand, obviously the cloud and the predominantly orange colour.
Yeah.
But I've noticed anyone who puts a player up, they can change the colours and things, and you seem to always be offering sort of adaptability.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I mean, what's the most frustrating thing with sort of that SoundCloud have encountered? Is there sort of I mean, has it been things like Flash players and people struggling or getting all your content onto a mobile app? Because I know that's not impossible, but very challenging to sort of offer the same usability.
I wouldn't say it's like a frustrating thing, but I think one thing to be aware of from our position was like where people can like want to be and share their sounds, where people want to listen as well. So like mobile devices were a major thing of having that, and now we've seen like over 5 million downloads across all them different devices of our SoundCloud app. So it's really great to see that many people interacting and creating audio on the fly, and then type of environments as well. And just it's not just about the website, but just everywhere else SoundCloud can exist, and having our API and allows us to do this.
So a lot of artists use SoundCloud to share their music, to actually give their music away. I mean, I certainly have myself. Do you see that as being something that's growing, or is it sort of? I'm not quite sure, because I get sent a lot of stuff through SoundCloud, and some guys are sort of like, this is my music that's coming out on Beatport or any other download site, and then there's other people that are giving more of their music away. Do you see a trend? Is there sort of?
I think the trend as well is like we can help in them in the promotional side of a record. So you think about when I've got that first track, it's finished, I want to go put it live, put it everywhere on the web and let people hear it. So that's a very valuable part for all the musicians. So from that aspect, we can really help there, no one else delivers. We have like buy links on tracks as well, so you can send people to Beatport to buy your track afterwards. So I'm definitely seeing it growing. Like I said earlier, we passed like 10 million users, and we're putting around about 1 million users a month on at the moment as well. So it's definitely growing in terms of the amount of creators getting involved and learning to share.
And with London Electronic Music Event sort of focusing on production and business, I can see that's a really good fit with what you're doing, because you're sort of enabling the artist to promote themselves. How did SoundCloud get involved with LEME, as they call it?
Yeah, well, with LEME, it's a good, or LEME.
Yeah.
So we're going to go for it. So we got involved through the guys at Sample Magic. Sample Magic have been using SoundCloud to help give promotional samples which people can hear beforehand, and pushing that where they need them as well. So from there is a really cool fit for us in terms of like, obviously we have a whole side of us where we're there for creators, and we're there for those around the creators, from managements to labels to PRs. So in that way we can kind of help cross that barrier, and a lot of people, they kind of doing stuff all encompassing by themselves as well. So for them type of people, what better way to learn about production skills so they can get that stuff in the studio done, but also learn how I can start to share that first track from the studio.
So what time is the SoundCloud is it seminar or talk?
I guess it's somewhere between both of them really. Just we're on at 2:30 I think on the Sunday. So while we're there, we'll just kind of go through some of the realms of how you can use in SoundCloud as an artist, from that first process of sharing your sounds in terms of like demos and passing around like mixes back from the studio, and how you can use them time comments in a really proactive way, all the way to putting that first track online and how you can share across 2 different networks, and then how you can use a bunch of our interesting marketing tools, and then of course like all the great stats on SoundCloud, so I can learn to analyse and gain insight about my sharing my sounds at the same time as well. So yeah, 2:30 PM on Sunday, come down and listen.
And there'll be an opportunity to ask questions at the end.
Yeah, feel free. I'm there to give tips. So if anyone has any questions, either find me beforehand wearing my SoundCloud t-shirt, or just come and say hi afterwards.
And you guys do events as well, don't you? Are there any SoundCloud events coming up?
So we had an initiative last year called Global Meetup Day. So the whole thing is, like, for us, we're based in a couple places around the world, but SoundCloud is everywhere around the world. So how about SoundClouders themselves? They take control and put events on in their own areas. So we had like 200 different events in like every continent country in the world. So every continent in the world where someone was putting on an event, everywhere from like 2 people to like 20 plus people, talking about how they can use SoundCloud and meeting new people and taking something from the online world to the physical space, and then hopefully back again and meet new people to create with.
And did you encourage the users to actually set up those events?
Yep, we literally put the whole thing online, saying, hey, come start your own event. We put it up, said like, start your own event on Meetup or via Facebook.
Yeah.
And then from there, they literally took the lead, and for anyone who was out there wanting to create an event, we gave them stickers, badges, t-shirts, and just help them take the lead in it, because SoundCloud's there for them. So it's really cool to see what they came out of it.
Yeah, I think there was one on the roof of the Queen of Hoxton.
Yeah.
Number 1 Canton Road that I went to. So.
Yeah, we had one here around the corner at Strongroom Studios as well, where we had a guy in there called Benji Boko. So he spent a whole day getting SoundClouders from the world to send him in like sounds, everything from like someone sending like their kid laughing to someone actually sending like parts of tracks, and then from there he spent the whole day in the studio just like creating one track from this. So he called it like one cloud, one day, one cloud, one sound.
Right.
Like it's a whole day project. And he had everything, like even Yoko Ono sent in the sound in the end, which was amazing just to hear her speak something. And then hear that whole creative process. And I think that's kind of what it's about, like helping you to connect and communicate with people and then create awesome stuff at the other end.
So was that a one-off thing last year? Is that going to be annual? Or?
Hopefully there'll be more and more global meetups, and just helping SoundClouders really to take the lead in them type of projects. We actually have a new community project called SoundCloud Heroes at the moment, so go to our blog, go to our Facebook and Twitter and have a look, and look out for SoundCloud Heroes. We're looking for people in their own areas to kind of spread and evangelize and talk more about what they love.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.